This is KGW News at noon.
And we start off with breaking news. Former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright died today. She was the first woman named to that post. President Bill Clinton nominated her for the job, and she served 4 years. In 2012, President Obama gave Albright the Medal of Freedom, which is the country's highest civilian honor. Madeleine Albright was 84 years old. You can find much more on her life and legacy right now on KGW.com. Now to an update on the China Eastern Airlines jet that crashed earlier this week. I want you to take a look at this new drone video. It's right over the scene. There is nothing left there, just that huge crater. There's also surveillance video of the flight's final moments showing the plane in a nosedive with 132 people on board. Today, during a brief news conference, officials said they recovered the cockpit voice recorder and it's badly damaged. They're now sending it to Beijing to be analyzed. Crews searching the scene have found no survivors. This is China's worst airplane disaster in more than a decade. Now to the latest on the crisis in Ukraine. Today, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the U.S. has formally determined that Russian troops have committed war crimes. This comes as President Biden is on his way to Europe for an urgent meeting with NATO allies. During his trip, the president will visit refugee shelters along the border with Poland, but he will not enter Ukraine. So far, 3.5 million Ukrainians have left their country. President Biden is also preparing to sign off on more sanctions against Russia, additional aid for Ukraine, and potentially sending more troops into NATO countries. Well, a Vancouver man who went to Ukraine is encouraging Americans to give as much as they can to help those refugees. Joseph Trachek went over there with his church group and returned to the U.S. last week. He says the reality of war didn't hit him until he saw it firsthand.
Like when you're on your way to the border of Ukraine, you just see bus after bus full of people that are being brought out by people that are coming in on their buses, on their businesses to help bring people out. And then you see tons of supplies going in and out. So you're seeing a lot of help.
Joseph says he has family in a part of Ukraine that the Russian army is about to overrun. Right now, citizens there need basic supplies like food and water. For the latest on Ukraine, you can go to kgw.com/Ukraine.
I have received so many notes and letters and photos from little girls around the country.
It's a historic week on Capitol Hill. Confirmation hearings are underway for Judge Katanji Brown Jackson. If she's confirmed and Democrats likely have the votes without any GOP support, Jackson would become the first black woman on the nation's highest court. We talked to one of Oregon's top legal scholars about what this historic moment means for her, both personally and professionally. Here's Alma McCarty.
This moment for us is inspirational for so many. It's for all of us. So for the people that may not have tried to even venture into a career in law.
Dean Marcelin Burke of University of Oregon School of Law watched closely as Judge Katanji Brown Jackson faced hours of questioning during day 2 of her confirmation hearing.
My record demonstrates my impartiality.
She has certainly displayed what we call the judicial temperament.
She calls Jackson's resume, her decade of experience on the bench, unimpeachable.
There's really no room for challenging her experience, her knowledge of the law, her expertise.
Jackson's background resonating with her personally.
So as a lawyer, as a Black woman, as a woman from the South, with similar backgrounds, it means something to me on so many different levels.
She, along with hundreds of other law professors across the country, expressed their support of Jackson and her qualifications in a letter, encouraging the Senate to move swiftly with the confirmation process.
I went through a confirmation hearing, a process when I was nominated by President Barack Obama to be the Assistant Secretary for Land and Minerals at the Department of the Interior. And mind you, much lower stakes process, but important similarities.
Burke explained the level of preparation was unparalleled, with lawmakers combing through and questioning everything you've written and said.
They have an actual record, so they can look back at her over 570 opinions, and so they don't have to guess about how would she approach a certain issue.
Burke says the road to Judge Jackson's confirmation should be celebrated by many, the Supreme Court becoming more representative of the citizens of the United States.
And that will be a magnificent manifestation of the ideals and the values of this country.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
It appears a Yamhill County commissioner has survived a recall effort. There's a look at the results with all precincts reporting. The Yamhill County Elections Office says more than 52% of voters said no to recalling Lindsay Burschauer. A group called Save Yamhill County collected enough signatures to force the recall. They accused Burschauer of favoring her own interests and her own donors rather than taxpayers. Burschauer blames this recall on progressives who wanted her out of office.
There it is. You can see it. Okay, folks, get to your safe place. We've got a definite tornado.
That television station in New Orleans reporting on this tornado live on air yesterday. One person died, and the tornado left a trail of destruction through the 9th Ward.
We heard the transformer go out, and I told my daughters, I said, hey, listen, let's get in a tub and let's put the mattress over our head. So I just heard something just slam against my home, and that's how I know the tornado was over us.
So the National Weather Service has confirmed 2 tornadoes there in the New Orleans area. Survey teams are there today working to determine the strength of those tornadoes. Rod Hill joining us now. He's also tracking these storms. And Rod, there's a tornado warning for Florida and Georgia now.
Yeah, a new one. It had been a somewhat quiet morning. This is what is that same storm front now moving Florida and then into Georgia. There have been severe thunderstorm warnings for mainly action in the open Gulf waters much of the morning. And then just in the past 15 minutes or so, this cell indicated by radar is potentially producing a tornado, and warnings have been issued. Now, this is across the border in southern Georgia. Hopefully, I mean, it looks like timing wise, this will in fact be the finale of this storm front, meaning overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning, it'll be out over open Atlantic waters. Okay, here we go back at home. We have rain chances picking up again late Friday night into Saturday from that system. In the meantime, our clouds are starting to thicken up and we're starting to get more and more rain inland at the noon hour. So there's fairly steady rain from Newport up through Tillamook and Astoria. Radar is starting to pick up some light kind of speckled areas of rain, but this is the main batch that will be coming into the Rose City, I think, in the 1 o'clock hour this afternoon. And then we could have fairly steady light rain for a little bit. Right now, primarily dry out there. We are cloudy and 57 degrees. I think odds are good we won't make it to 60, assuming the rain starts to pick up in the next hour. We'll be upper 50s to maybe 60, but then rain cooled to 56 at 4 p.m. Showers decreasing this evening and 52. It will become dry overnight tonight. Weekend forecast looks like part of the weekend will be dry, and we'll have that for you coming up.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Rod. Well, we've all been looking for solutions to Portland's homeless crisis, and there's a job skills training center in Old Town that's found some success. It's called Stone Soup, and it just launched a way for the public to show their support. Nina Melhoff has more.
Today we're doing the zuppa de ceci, which is just a real old-timey simple soup. It's vegan.
Handing out samples at Italian marketplace Cooperativa in Portland's Pearl District, folks grabbing lunch are getting just a taste of what Stone Soup does so well, and that's just the cooking.
It's a workforce development program for people experiencing barriers to employment. So whatever that looks like in terms of, it could be people in the houseless community, it could be people who've been marginalized. We act as kind of a catalyst to be able to help people get into the right type of employment.
At their Old Town home base, that looks like food prep and knife skills classes. But the most important part of their 12 weeks through this program on their way to getting a full-time job are the conflict resolution techniques they learn, how to budget when you get a paycheck, and how to be coachable.
Almost everybody in the world has gone through some trauma at one time or another. The food service industry happens to be a place where you can land and succeed even if you might have had a colorful background or some life experience. But along with that life experience comes with trauma. And if we can work through that and not re-traumatize people while they're in their jobs, then they'll stick around longer.
Enter Stone Soup's new monthly subscription program. For $48 a month, you choose a different quart of soup per week, prepped, cooked, and packaged by the program. And you pick it up at one of 6 locations across the city, one of them Cooperativa, where you can grab a square of pizza or a salad and a pasta to complete the meal.
Something that could be good for families if they want something quick, or it could be like a couple who want to keep like a quart of soup in their refrigerator for a weekend or something like that.
They have 30 soup subscribers now with the goal of 80. Stone Soup's pre-pandemic model of a public restaurant is closed. Larger scale catering and this subscription program proved a better fit to budget, plan, and cook for. They've had 30 graduates in 3 years, and as these programs get support and orders, more of them can be hired back full-time. And that's a worthwhile cause for our city. Nina Melhoff, KGW News.
It sure is. They are doing a great job.